Shalom, everybody. It's the Wyco Nomad with Wyco Resiliency, and we are continuing with Genesis 2. It is BERESHITH 2, and let us continue. The readers must go on. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed, and all their array. And in the seventh day Elohim completed his work which he had done, and he rested in the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and set it apart, because on it he rested from all his work which Elohim in creating had made. These are the births of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heavens. Now no shrub of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up. For Yahweh Elohim had sent rain for For Yahweh Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Yahweh Elohim formed the man out of the dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils breath of lives. And the man became a living being. And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden in Eden to the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, and the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 heads. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Havilah. There is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium is there, and the Shoham stone. And the name of the second river is Gidon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. We hope. Hebrew words again, yo. I have trouble with them, but we will call it Hiddekel. It is the one which goes toward the east of Ashur. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. And Yahweh Elohim took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to guard it. And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. And Yahweh Elohim said, It is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him, as his counterpart. And from the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called each living being, that was its name. And the man gave names to all the livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper for him as his counterpart. So Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And the rib which Elohim had taken from the man he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman, because she was taken out of man. For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked. They were naked, y'all. The man and his wife, yet they were not ashamed. They weren't ashamed yet. Let's do 3. And the Nahash was more crafty than all the lives of the field, which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, Is it true that Elohim said, Do not eat of every tree in the garden? And the woman said to the Nahash, We are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim said, Do not eat it nor touch it, lest you die. I want to pause right there. So we know that a lot of people turn around and said, see, the original sin is her eating the fruit. What we have here is the Nahash, the deceiver, making Eve question God's rules, God's instructions. Some people will go as far as saying the law. That was a mistranslation in the King Jimmy. Torah, law, was instructions. So we have the Nahash, deceiver, was more crafty. And he posed, is it true? Come on, really? Did he really say that? So we have now creating doubt upon Yahweh's instructions. And let us go back to 3:4. And Nahash said to the woman, You shall certainly not die. For Elohim knows that in the day that you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eye, and the tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. So Adam's sitting there watching his wife pull the tree, not saying, hey, yo, you're not supposed to do that. He just sat there, oh, look what she's doing. Okay. Oh, I'll eat of it too. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. They were naked. They felt shame because they have knowledge now. And they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking about the garden toward the wind of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim among the trees of the garden. Now, I've had atheists with this one. Well, if God is all-knowing, why did he not know where they were? Okay. Any of you parents and your child does something bad? You ever remember when you were kids and you did something bad and you know dad was coming, he was taking that belt off? Yes, I come from a day and age that the belt or the wooden spoon came out. I hid. They knew exactly where I was, but I hid. Yahweh knew where they were. He's like, yo, come out. Where are you hiding? Think, Mom, Dad, get your butts out here. You're getting a whooping. And Elohim and Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, where are you? He knew where he was. And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself. He's already lying. He knew he did wrong. He broke Dad's rules. And he said, who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, this is key. This is Genesis 3:12. And the man said, the woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me the tree and I ate. So Adam basically blamed Yahweh, blamed Elohim. Well, the woman you gave me made me do this. It's not on me. She made me. You know what? It's your fault. Not a good way to start a conversation when you're about ready to get your butt whooped. Genesis 3:12, and the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me the tree, and I ate. And Yahweh Elohim said to the woman, what is this you have done? And the woman said, the Nahash deceived me, and I ate. And Elohim said to the Nahash, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you are to go to eat dust all the days of your life. And I put enmity, hate, between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. That right there, Genesis 3:15. He shall crush. That is Revelations. That is the defeat of Satan right there. That is in Genesis. It is a jump. Pardon me. It is a jump to Revelations, or Revelations jumps back to the beginning. See, this whole book is one big continuous story. The New Testament touches the Old Testament. Everything from the beginning to the end is one full. Keep that in mind when you read. To the woman he said, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. Bring forth children in pain, and your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you. We can get into all that rule over, rule and subdue. It's not being a bully. That's really... So many people misinterpret that whole thing as just, I will rule over. No, she is your wise counsel. But the husband still does rule over. He is to rule and subdue the lands. We don't rule and subdue people. And to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife. Now, we're not going to go with that joke, though. Sorry. And because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and you have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, do not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you are to eat of it all the days of your life. And the ground shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you are to eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you return. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, anyone? And the man called his wife's name Hawa, because she became the mother of all. Now, Hawa, I've heard Hava. We're not going to split hairs over the pronunciation of names, okay? My Bible has Hawa, but I have heard it pronounced Hava. Because she became the mother of all living. And Yahweh Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife, and dressed them. And Yahweh Elohim said, see, the man has become like us, has become like one of us, capital U, to know good and evil. And now lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. So Yahweh Elohim sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken, and he drove the man out, and he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. And that brings us to an end of 2 and 3. Hopefully you enjoy that. And I do encourage you, as I follow Pastor Bear, and as he would repeatedly say, don't take my word for it. Read your Bible. You should be reading along with this. Take no man's word for this. Read it yourself so you can see in black and white what it says. So no man can fool you. And we can go into Paul's words, go into Yeshua's words. Let no man deceive you, saying, look here, look there. But that's the end of Genesis 2 and 3. Next week or soon, we will touch upon Genesis 4, 5. We'll continue, at least through Genesis. I don't know if we're going to do a whole reading of the Bible, but so far so good, y'all. And thank you for watching. Shalom and blessings till the next time. And I have some more videos to film. Shalom.